Hey everybody, my name is Sean Smiley. I'm a father of 3 teenage boys. I'm a fire captain. I'm a critical care paramedic. I'm the lead of our peer support program in mental health resiliency in the City of Tulare Fire Department. And thanks for listening to my story about, and I know it sounds melodramatic, but this is how ice baths saved my life. There's a picture of me right there at Huntington Lake. After my girlfriend and I went snowboarding, I was like, hey, let's go do something wild. And everybody thinks you and your girlfriend would do something a little bit more wild than jump in a ice lake, but it was fantastic. And that's a picture of the Morosco Forge on my back porch, where I, as frequently as possible, get into that thing. And I'll explain why in the following slides. All right, so it's 2007. I'm a career firefighter. I'm a senior paramedic in my department. I'm an educator in EMS to all of our guys in advanced cardiac, pediatric advanced, and basic life support modalities for the American Heart Association. I'm in charge of paramedic certification, recertification, and all of our EMTs annual and refresher training, ensuring competency in all of the things that they're supposed to do in the field in a moment's notice with hopefully no errors. I was in a training exercise wearing a full body harness, getting lowered down into a well when something happened up top and I fell about 25 or 30 feet free fall until the belay or the safety line caught me and it was attached to my pelvis. And with all of my weight and the velocity of the fall, that translation of force went into my left pelvic area, including my my genitalia, my testicle specifically on the left, and it crushed my pudendal nerve, which innervates, your back, lower back, buttocks, and a portion of your genitalia. It was pretty tough. It hurt really bad. I was limping, I was walking, I was black and blue. It looked like a bunch of people beat me up with hockey sticks on my lower portion of my body, and I went to this fantastic thing called a workman's comp physician. I wish I had more thumbs because I'd give him 4 thumbs down, right?
Amen to that.
Amen. Workman's comp, unfortunately, is getting much better, at least where we're at. But my experience in 2007 was poor. And when I dropped my pants and showed him what was going on, swollen, beat up, black and blue, lack of sensation, all these other things, I was literally told that when cavemen hurt themselves, they would walk it off. And so I grabbed the doctor by his coat and shook him and told him I'm not a fucking caveman. And the next visit was to the chief's office. So long story short, I was injured severely. I still have lasting effects from the injury. A lot of it has resolved, but the one thing that I noticed the most was a loss in my libido, muscle tone, vascularity, and just my drive for life and to do anything. So I followed up with a physician and found out that I was hypogonadic, which is you're not producing any testosterone. So they started trying to figure out, like, oh, maybe we can, pour some gasoline in this carburetor, we'll jumpstart your testicle and maybe get it back online. This is a lab report from 2018 when I was on the sauce. You can see that my testosterone was almost 1,200. I was trying Plummeted, I was doing injectable testosterone, I was doing everything I could, creams and whatnot, to try through allopathic medicine to try and increase. And then you can see a contrasting lab report where my total testosterone is super low. And if you do the math, that's like in the 200s. On top of this, all these other problems, sexual dysfunction, PTSD from work, a lasting nagging injury, kids in the house. My wife and I at the time were having a ton of marital problems. Like any other public safety person, going through things and not managing them well or not having the systems to manage them well with, you take it home with you. And we were like 2 ships passing in the night. We'd trade off the kids, she'd go to work or school, I'd take the kids, we wouldn't see each other for 2 or 3 or 4 days. And we were just a mile apart on everything, and it was terrible. Next slide, please. Despite being hypogonadic and having some problems, with erectile dysfunction from the resultant hypogonadism from my trauma to the pelvis, I was still able to make 3 wonderful boys out of this dysfunctional marriage. And they are my entire life. We do everything together, and they are the focus of everything that I do. And they literally saved me. I heard a term earlier from Rich talking about heroes. I'm not a hero. And every cop or firefighter and paramedic or even nurse would say the same thing. We signed up for this. We have a craft and a calling to do what it is that we do, and we went to train for it, and we love it. And we allow ourselves to be put in that position. What we didn't sign up for is to be not supported on the back half because of those things that we signed up to do that nobody told us about in the beginning. But they were very well known about the cumulative stress, trauma, and poor management or coping issues that don't exist at large in municipalities because they're expensive and they're reactionary. So I ask myself, how many more cops and firefighters have to put a gun in their mouth or tie a noose around a rafter before agencies decide to look at the science and the data that's specific as something as simple as cold water or a box that's hot or being able to talk to somebody that knows what they're talking about, what we had to experience, before they decide to spend the money to fix the problem? How many more guys got to kill themselves? So I got hurt, busted myself up. My twig and berries aren't working right. I'm having marital problems. Everything's fucked up at home. I'm in trouble at work. I'm fighting people. I'm beating on my chest. I'm punching holes in the wall because my testosterone's off the charts, and I stop it. I'm like, this is the problem. No more testosterone. I can't take this drug. We are not doing well together. So it fell off. Problems at home obviously didn't get better. I can't blame it on the cream or the shot, right? Because the words are like toothpaste coming out of the tube. You can't put that stuff back in there. And I decided to start jiu-jitsu because I wanted to get out of the house and I needed a place to go that was okay, and I could do it with my kids and we could take them with me, and they had a kids program and it was right after the adult program, and it was just a fantastic fit for me. But like as previously said, when you start jiu-jitsu, you suck. And even when you get to where I'm at as a purple belt, you still suck. And you know what? A lot of black belts would say when they're new black belts, man, I suck now compared to the other black belts. It is this ever-sucking event, which is fantastic. But it hurt a lot, all the time. I'd wake up in the morning and I would want to go to jiu-jitsu on the weekend or do a 5 a.m. class before my boys woke up because I was feeling alive again, learning and doing and participating in this community that was new. But man, was I paying for it physically. So I started jumping in a cold pool in the wintertime, not only to wake myself up, but also to like thrash about and reduce the soreness, because I'd see, you know, people, athletes sitting in ice baths after they worked out to feel better. Jump in the pool, dry off real quick. After 5 minutes or 4 minutes or however long it was in there, I never really timed it, put on my gi and drive to jiu-jitsu a few minutes away. And I noticed after doing this a few days and maybe a week or so, like the veins were popping out in my arms as my libido was back. And I wanted to do cool things, go with the boys, let's go to the park. So I just didn't want to sit on the couch and watch TV or whatever. And I was like, wow, what's going on here? So I went back to the doctor, I told him what was going on, and I'd switched doctors by then. I had a much better physician who was managing testosterone and whatnot. He said, let's draw your labs. My testosterone was up. He goes, come on, dude, are you back on the shit? I'm like, no, man. What vitamins are you taking? I'm like, nothing. I'm eating the same, eat like shit, sleep like shit, work like shit. But this is what I'm doing. He's like, well, keep doing it. Next slide. So stumbled across a study, started researching, started looking into like, what is it that I'm doing that possibly could be causing this? All by mistake and all by a happy accident. Stumbled on this 1991 Japanese study about working out after you get yourself cold and its effects in relation to serum testosterone production in young men. And I'm like, oh shit. Started reading some more, looking at some more things. And so eventually wound up getting divorced and couldn't really jump in that pool anymore because I didn't live there. But I got myself a bucket from Tractor Supply, and my son, my oldest son, Benicio, is my #1 workout partner. He would be doing everything with me and follow me around. And so he started jumping in the ice baths with me, and he was wrestling, and he was noticing these changes, and he was starting to really, really like excel and get better. And he noticed that there was a correlation between his performance and pre-cooling himself before he would go to wrestling practice in the summertime or on winter breaks and whatnot. And so, this funny story, got in a little bit of trouble, like usual at the fire department. The chief took me in there, he goes, hey, can't steal any more ice. No more ice. I'd be taking Yeti coolers, 3 or 4 of them, big ones, in the back of my truck to work, and over the course of 48 or 72 hours, I'd be slowly filling up the Yeti coolers so I could take them home to my little Rubbermaid trough and fill it up with ice. Well, I'll get to it later, but it turned into this big debacle about people stealing ice in the station, and in inclement hot weather, we couldn't cool down our ice chests for fire rehab afterwards. The next shift would come on and be like, dude, there's no fucking ice in here. Like, where did it all go? Smiley took the ice. So I ended up getting some cheap little hydroponic coolers and just made, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. I didn't invent any of this, but I had to hodgepodge things together and look at pictures online. How can I make an economical way to keep myself cool without getting myself a pink slip at work for stealing ice cubes. So next slide, please. Moving right along. I just kept doing it. I just kept doing it. I found a way through it. I knew it was making me feel better. I got that one lab draw, and I was like, you know what? This makes me feel good. It makes me feel alive. I'm not yelling at my kids. I'm able to go home from work and just sit in some cold water and take off my mask. I'm not Fire Dad Sean. I'm just Dad. And they started noticing Dad was back. He's normal again. He's not yelling at us for stupid shit. He wants to be involved. He wants to talk to me. He wants to help me build this model or work out or any of these other things. So I knew that I was onto something, and I started including them, offering them the ability to get in the water with me and try these new things and feel comfortable being uncomfortable. The picture up here on the right of the waterfall in the sequoias. We would go and hike and find as often as we could safe cold water areas to where we could immerse ourselves and do these like group challenges, the Smiley Boys doing wild stuff. And then one day I was at Jiu-Jitsu, and a friend of mine who was a longtime friend with this guy named Tyler Baxley, who's a teacher in Visalia, California, he goes, hey man, I know you do these ice baths and shit, but you should come to this teacher's house. In his backyard, he has a bucket with ice and a sauna, and he charges like $10 or $5, and you go there for an hour and you do this. And I'm like, man, a teacher's backyard, a sauna? Well, clearly it was okay because I took my kids with me later on, but I'm like, well, I've done some weirder shit. Let's go to this teacher's house and get in his sauna in his backyard. Nobody I knew. Drive into this nice gated community. The neighbors and Karens were all HOAing us and writing down our license plate numbers and stuff. With that being said, the kids ended up loving it and learning that the cold water was a gift. And they started doing it on their own and challenging their friends and building this network of neighborhood kids that wanted to see who could sit in the ice the longest and have this fun, you know, kind of esprit de corps experience in childhood, which was totally safe but rooted in doing something hard that isn't offered, you know, in regular school. Next slide. So I just kept showing up, I kept doing it, I kept working, I kept modeling the conduct, I kept telling people, that anybody that would listen, about how it changed my life and what it was doing. I started working out with it more, moving the equipment instead of driving to the gym afterwards or going to jiu-jitsu. I just moved the stuff right next to it. I'd get out of the ice and I would do pre-cooled workouts. And then I started doing, para-cooled workouts where you're going in and out of the ice and cooling in between. I would do my workout routine and then do a recovery in the ice and then get out and work some more and then get back in the Morosco or the ice bucket or whatever was available to get cold in, and I would do it at work and I would do it here. And people thought I was crazy until they started seeing the lab results that I would show them. Next slide. And no matter how shitty my work was, no matter how crappy I ate, and some firehouse meals are delicious, but they are train wrecks metabolically, okay? Or how bad the sleep was because of the work provision that was required, or because of the lasting effects of the things that I've had to see and do throughout my career. No matter how shitty those three things were, the levels kept increasing every 6 months. Every year or so when I would get my labs drawn, they just kept creeping up. And the only thing I was doing was cooling myself before working out as religiously as possible. Can't do it every day. It's prohibited at the department where I currently work. We're working on it. We're trying to fix some things and move in the right direction. But you can see right here, it's about, I don't know, 7 months apart or so. The levels just keep going up, and I did not change much. Next slide. And so, guys at work started seeing this. They started asking questions. They started wanting to come over. Hey, what's going on with you, man? You're usually like this pill, or you're a jerk, or you're very blunt, and now you're like, you know, de-escalating things and fucking conflict resolution. Like, I didn't even know you had that in your vocabulary, right? So I told him, I'm like, it's all because I'm just cooling myself off and checking in with myself. And I'm able to recenter and focus and learning these new things about who I am and where all this actually came from and where I can put it. I have a place to put it, and it's in this bucket of ice. It's in this Morosco forge, and it goes away. And it's out of me now, and the energy is removed, and now I'm a different person. not literally, but figuratively, I feel much better right after I get out, and everybody else does. So people started seeing this change after, we work intimately. We live together for a third of our professional career in the firehouse. We know each other's secrets and skeletons and mannerisms and all these other things. And when they can see that change, they're like, what is going on here? So people started doing it with me from work. They started coming in my backyard, or they'd show up. Next slide. They'd show up, and we started getting ready before work. And then, by beautiful accident, my girlfriend who's sitting in the back of the room, her cousin was my engineer at the fire department. She introduced me to Aaron, who we took on a date. I took on a date, and we actually went to Tyler's backyard before he had this business, which is Respire Fire and Ice, which is saunas and cold plunges. I met her, and it's been fantastic so far. But where this is going is that we went on this date. I thought it was cool, and I'm going to be honest. I just wanted to see her in a swimsuit, and sorry, but I got her in a sauna and got her in the cold plunge, and I got to see in a bikini, and I was like, all right, cool. And what ended up happening was the next day she called me and she goes, hey, I can move my hands, and I'm like looking at the phone like, I can move my hands too. She goes, no, dude, I have rheumatoid arthritis. And when I sat in that cold water, I think it did something, because today I'm like Stevie Wonder on the keyboard here at work, right? And I'm playing all the keys. And I'm like, oh, wow. So that turned into a whole different conversation about rheumatoid arthritis and chronic inflammation and all the other things that maybe I was feeling in the beginning with jiu-jitsu and trying to make myself feel better, but resulted in a happy accident of increasing my serum testosterone. With that, there's her post right there on moroscoforge.com about her arthritis relief and chronic inflammation. This is Dr. Seeger. He took a visit after her compelling story and my compelling story about the magic and power of cold water immersion purposefully and getting, mildly hypothermic on purpose in not a bad way, but in a derived, healthy, and focused way. He had to come see this wonderful place that I told him about in Visalia when he happened to be having on a visit to Fresno. Take a look. We did a sauna. He saw all the stuff there, and we've been friends ever since. And I'm forever grateful for everything that he's put out in the science to keep the things that look so vogue and sexy, either on pictures or social media, that kind of plug the ears of fire chief and administrators and people that are trying to be fiduciarily responsible, or whatever that word means. It helped, and he helped keep the science true. So the things that I were feeling were actually backed up by fact, and it wasn't just subjective, because there's data involved with it. Next slide, please. And here it is again. All of these things are being circulated around. I get phone calls and text messages and Instagrams from fire department members all throughout the country wanting to know one of two things. How is it making you feel better in the psychosocial realm, and what is this doing to you as a responder after the fact? And then I have the other things like, oh, is it gonna make me buff? So with that being said, I get a lot of calls, and we use a lot of the science that Dr. Seeger puts out as the foundation for those people to build their own experimentation and experiences with cold water, specifically in the public safety sector, to make themselves a better human being on and off duty. Next slide. So this is my last testosterone, 702. I work a 4896. I'm in a leadership role. I'm trying to promote up a little bit. I'm not as able to get in the cold water as much or work out as hard as I want to, because I'm pulled in other directions professionally. And my boys are getting, I thought when kids got older, things got easier. Ding dong, I was wrong, right? So these boys now are doing different sports and track and field, and I can't get to jiu-jitsu as much as I want to. I can't get myself to the gym, but I still try and force myself as often to at least get 3 minutes and 33 seconds in the cold water every single day that I'm able to, and my labs are pretty steady in the 700s to 800s. The highest I ever got it was, I think, 900 naturally, and that's when I was hard keto in the sunshine, doing all these things, and no Pop-Tarts allowed. It was tough. Next slide. So now I have guys coming over for shift prep. They know that they can't or not supposed to do it on duty, and so they'll be coming to the house, or they'll send me pictures of themselves getting in their cold pool or their own buckets before they go on duty for their 48 or 72 or 96 hour shift. They know, they've seen, they've felt, and they've had some exampleship to lead them in the right direction to do something as simple as this to prepare themselves for the things that they're going to have to do for the next 48, 72 hours or so. Recovering well is important. Talked about a sauna, okay? When we go, there's a gym in my city called Evolutions. And after a structure fire, usually the next day I'll have my crew come with me, and other crews are doing this too. And we'll go and we'll sit in the sauna and for about 30 minutes or 45 minutes or so right after work. And people will come in, it's a public sauna in a gym, they'll open it up and be like, it smells like campfire in here. Well, we're sweating all that shit out. So we make sure that we're going and recovering well and taking care of ourselves. But I think what the most important thing that I've found is this big stress dip right here. And that is my heart rate plummeting after I'm stressed out working out or getting hot in a sauna, and then getting in cold water and resetting my parasympathetic nervous system. And that is putting me back into a perfect mind space and realigning myself and allowing me a few minutes to subconsciously process the things that I've had to see, do, smell, hear, or order people to do. And it helps me to recenter, refocus, and move on with my day with a positive foot forward. Next slide. I want to say thank you very much, Dr. Seeger, for your 2 books. They've been a wealth of knowledge and a fantastic influence. I've bought probably a dozen of them each and passed them all out to people that I hope will read them. And I wanted to thank my mother, but more importantly, my grandmother, and the wisdom of the Native American tribes, specifically the Lakota Sioux. With all of these things, we talk about the old ways that are now being polarized as new science, and they're not. My grandma's a polio survivor, and she used to crawl out onto the grass. My mother would tell me this story because she had no use of her lower extremities post-polio after she was out of an iron lung for 2 years, and would lay in the sun and force herself over and ground herself. And she'd say that this is what the Indians would do when they were injured. They would lay on the soil in the sun to heal. My mother always taught me, be barefoot as much as you can. You want to run around naked? Cool. Don't let the cops see you. Like all this stuff. And I just wanted to say, I love you. My mother's maiden name and my grandmother's name, Makepeace. That's their last name. And I just wanted to say that without the support of my mother and my grandmother and my father too, with his examples of hard work, being not so demonstrative, but a fantastic hardworking man to provide for us, I probably would not have had the resilience to be able to put myself in a bucket of cold water and figure all this shit out before ever meeting Dr. Seeger by a happy accident. So thank you guys for your time today.